Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video, because life is so beautiful, and today we're here to celebrate it together, having just been given courage. Life is so beautiful. Arya sat by the window of her small apartment, watching the rain streak across the glass. It had been weeks since she'd felt a sliver of joy. Her once vibrant life as a graphic designer had been turned upside down after losing her job during the company's downsizing. The bills piled up, her friendships strained under the weight of her constant anxiety, and she had no family nearby to lean on. Each morning, Arya would wake up, staring at the ceiling, wondering if life was worth the effort. She had always been an optimist, but life seemed to have robbed her of the one thing she had cherished the most: her hope. One rainy afternoon, as she stared out the window, she noticed an elderly man across the street. He was in a wheelchair, struggling to pick up a dropped umbrella. A group of teenagers passed by, oblivious to his plight. Without hesitation, Arya grabbed her jacket, ran across the street, and handed the umbrella to him. "Thank you," the man said, his voice trembling yet filled with warmth. "You're a kind soul." "It's nothing," Arya replied, surprised by how good it felt to help someone else. And every puppy boy felt the same. The man smiled. Sometimes, the simplest gestures remind us that life is beautiful. His words lingered in her mind long after she returned to her apartment. That night, she stared at the ceiling as usual, but instead of despair, a flicker of curiosity filled her heart. Could life still be beautiful, even amidst her struggles? The next morning, Arya decided to take a walk in the park. She hadn't ventured out in weeks, but the man's words had sparked something in her. As she strolled through the park, she noticed a small community center advertising free art therapy sessions. "Maybe this is what I need," she thought, and signed up for the next session. The therapy group consisted of people from all walks of life: an elderly woman battling loneliness, a teenager recovering from an accident, and a middle-aged man coping with the loss of his spouse. As they painted and shared their stories, Arya felt a connection to these strangers. Their resilience inspired her, and for the first time in months, she felt less alone. After the session, Arya found herself sketching again, something she hadn't done since losing her job. The colors flowed effortlessly onto the paper, as if they had been waiting for her to rediscover them. Each stroke reminded her of the joy and purpose she had once found in her art. One evening, while working on a painting inspired by the elderly man she had helped, Arya decided to visit him. She found out that his name was Mr. Harris and that he lived in a nearby assisted living facility. They struck up a friendship, and Arya began visiting him regularly. Mr. Harris shared stories of his younger days as a teacher, his adventures traveling the world, and the love of his life who had passed away years ago. Despite his challenges, he radiated gratitude and joy. "You remind me of my younger self," he said one day. "The world tried to break me, but I realized that every struggle is just a chapter in our story. Life, my dear, is so beautiful, even when it's hard." Arya felt tears well up in her eyes. She had spent so much time focusing on what she had lost that she had forgotten to appreciate what she still had. Arya felt the tears coming. Inspired by Mrs. Harris and her art therapy group, Arya decided to organize an art exhibition at the community center. She invited everyone from the therapy sessions and encouraged them to showcase their work. The event aimed to celebrate resilience and the beauty of life. As she prepared for the exhibition, Arya faced self-doubt. What if no one comes? What if it's a failure? Arya prepared for the worst, but no such thoughts came to her. But she pushed through, remembering Mr. Harris's words. On the day of the exhibition, the community center was buzzing with energy. People admired the artwork, shared their stories, and celebrated one another's journeys. Arya's paintings, depicting moments of hope and kindness, received overwhelming praise. A local gallery owner approached her and offered to feature her work in an upcoming exhibit. It was a turning point for Arya. She realized that her passion for art could still lead to something meaningful. The exhibition not only reignited Arya's career, but also brought the community closer together. She started volunteering at the center, teaching art to children and adults alike. Her days were filled with purpose, and her nights were no longer spent staring at the ceiling in despair. One day, as she walked through the park, she spotted a young woman sitting alone, tears streaming down her face. Arya approached her, offering a kind word and a listening ear. The woman shared her struggles, and Arya, in turn, shared her story. "You helped me more than you know," the woman said. "Maybe life isn't so bad after all." Arya smiled, realizing how far she had come. Her pain had transformed into a source of strength, allowing her to help others find hope. Years later, Arya opened her own art studio, where people from all walks of life came to learn, create, and heal. She often thought of Mr. Harris, who had passed away but left an indelible mark on her heart. One evening, as she locked up the studio, she noticed a young man struggling to fix his bicycle chain. She walked over to help, remembering the day she had helped Mr. Harris and how it had changed her life. Although Rita Stein had spent 3 years researching ways to fix the problem, neither ancient history nor anything in her book could prepare her for her young client. As the young man thanked her, Arya looked up at the sky, now painted in hues of pink and orange. She felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought her to this moment. Life, she realized, wasn't perfect. It was messy, unpredictable, and often painful, but it was also beautiful, filled with moments of connection, growth, and joy. And as long as she could hold on to that truth, she knew she could face anything. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more great content.